So today we are going to learn about suicide prevention. It can be a difficult topic to think about, but it's important we learn how to help each other. If it gets too overwhelming, reach out to a trusted adult. Some of the scenes in this video may not match your life right now. The time you spend in school might look a little different, or you may be watching this from home. But the steps you take to help yourself or a friend are exactly the same. Just remember ACT. Acknowledge signs of suicide in a friend. Show a friend that you care. Tell a trusted adult. It just might save someone's life.
My name is Connor Lee, and I'm 16 years old. When I was a child, I would say I was very energetic. I was very extroverted. I liked to hang out with my friends a lot. I was diagnosed with ADHD at a pretty young age. There were a bunch of challenging times for me. I was bullied a lot, and I started to hate myself. So the depression sort of started at elementary school age. It didn't get too severe until towards the end of middle school. I actually felt sad all the time. I just felt drained of all positive emotion. I wouldn't do schoolwork. I didn't really want to talk to anybody. Every time I got home, I sort of just laid down and just accepted nothingness.
Feeling sad is usually a temporary thing that's related to something that happened in someone's life or some situation or event. Feeling depressed is when someone is experiencing maybe sad feelings and probably a bunch of other kinds of things that feel bad too over a long period of time, and that it's getting in the way of doing things that people typically like to do.
I felt, even with my friends, I was alone. I wanted to be funny, so I put on a face for my friends, but on the inside I was just hurting. I felt like I wasn't enough for the people around me, and I felt like I could be doing so much more, but I just couldn't. I just started to feel alone, and that I didn't matter, and that maybe I was just better off just not being alive. My girlfriend at the time, she decided that she would take initiative and she would go talk to the school counselor. At that point, I was starting to feel suicidal. I talked to her about it a couple times. One of the things the school counselor made me do was she handed me a paper to ask, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel on most days? How many times have you had suicidal thoughts? Which really made me see that this was much bigger than I had thought it was before. I was tired of hiding, so I made a post about it, telling everyone how I was actually feeling and that I had been portraying this character to them and it wasn't actually me. It got a lot of support, and I think it helped make me feel better. I went to therapy, and the first session I felt very awkward. I didn't want to be there, I didn't want to talk about it. It did help though. Getting to actually talk about it, even though it was awkward, getting to say how I felt to someone. I am in a good place now, and the things that help me are, theater is a big one, because that's my passion. One of the bigger parts of my life is that I play guitar. I also use it, just like theater, as another way to find an escape, to go home and I can play guitar and I can be happy with that. And I'm really happy that I can be myself and be who I want to be.
I think because we know our friends, we tend to know when something is a little bit off, regardless of whether or not they openly state that they want help or that something's wrong. So it's important to be empathic and stating that, hey, I am here for you. You're not a burden to me. I want to help you.
There you are. You okay?
Yeah, I just don't like gym anymore.
What? But we both love track.
I don't know. I just feel tired. I feel like I have no energy anymore.
For gym?
Not just that. I don't feel like doing anything. I don't feel like going to school, and after graduation, I can't see anything but working the same job I've worked since sophomore year.
But I thought you wanted to be an engineer.
Can you see me as an engineer? Seriously?
Well, what do you see yourself as?
Nothing.
That kind of talk worries me. The way you look worries me. Exhausted, wearing long sleeves when it's hot outside. You know I've seen the marks on your arms.
So I'm a mess. Thanks for pointing that out. You, on the other hand, are getting out of here like everyone else. You even have a scholarship because you're so smart and talented.
I have my own problems, Caitlin. Last year, I had to get counseling. It helped a lot. It showed me that when one thing goes wrong, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, but why would you need counseling? You've got it made.
That's what everyone thinks. Leaves more room to live up to expectations. I even stuck in my own head sometimes.
I get that, but you never act stressed. I never would have guessed that you would.
I was really close to my grandmother. And when she died, I had a really hard time. Sure, I covered it up in school, but it was really hard to get out of bed.
I can relate to that. I'd like to go to bed, fall asleep, and never wake up.
Now that really scares me. Look, the counseling helped. Caitlin, please, talk to someone.
Who?
When I was having problems, I talked to my math teacher, Mrs. Lynch. She helped me set up an appointment with a counselor. That helped me.
Yeah, but you had a death in the family. What's my excuse?
You don't need an excuse. If you're feeling down about something or you just need to talk, that's enough. You could start with the nurse. You could start with anyone.
Look, I don't like the idea of telling my business to anyone.
I don't think of it like that. I think of it like talking things out, like I used to do with my grandmother. You have to reach out. If you don't, I will.
Please don't. Let me think about it. When I'm ready, maybe I'll talk to someone, but not now. It's not as bad as I made it out to be. I'm just a little down. Just give me time.
All right, just know that you can always talk to me, okay? And promise you won't do anything drastic. Just think about what I said, okay?
Okay. For now, just drop it. I'm just a little down. Just give me time.
You're not just a little down. Take it from someone who's been there. I'm really worried about you. I'm gonna make sure you talk to someone, not just me, someone who can actually help.
I don't know.
Let's go to the nurse. That's a good start. Come on, I'll go with you, okay?
My name is Ellie Peltola. I am 20 years old and I was adopted in Brazil. I had a really good childhood. I've lived in a lot of different countries, a lot of different states. In the second grade, we moved across the country and I've been living here ever since.
The summer going into 5th grade, we met at a dance audition. We've been friends ever since. Ellie and I were kind of crazy children. We used to make these little music videos.
From the beginning, she was a joy.
I had a lot of friends, enjoyed connecting with other kids of her age.
I remember from a very young age always being very insecure and always not liking how I looked. Every little thing that people could pick apart about me is what they would do, and it really, really got to me. I was bullied really bad, and because of that, I felt so worthless. I felt like nobody loved me. I didn't care about my hygiene. I didn't care about what I was wearing. I literally just didn't care. When I'm depressed, I physically cannot get out of bed and I feel sick to my stomach. I started to hurt myself when I was around 12 years old and it became a really big struggle of mine. I felt like because I hated myself so much, I felt like I needed to punish myself because I didn't feel like I was worthy and I didn't feel like I was deserving of having a body with no scars on it. So I put myself in situations that I was not comfortable with, but I did it because I felt like I needed to feel wanted by at least one person. The substance abuse, I was using that to feel numb, and there have been times where it's put my life in danger.
Some warning signs that I saw early on was that she didn't really have a plan for the future.
She started becoming very angry. She would, every time we tried to talk to her, she would just close the door, bang the door.
And a little bit more withdrawn and into herself and hiding in her room.
You know, she would just tell me things like she didn't want to live or like she didn't want to be here.
It's really intimidating to go to get help. That's like an understatement. Like, it is so hard to admit that you have a problem and to be able to ask someone if they can help you.
It was late at night and Ellie called me talking about how she was about to kill herself. And I was really scared, I was really nervous. And I went to my mom crying and I asked her for help, and my mom texted her parents.
So that's when we got into action to try to find ways to help her.
When she asked me not to tell anybody, I would either be like, oh yeah, sure, I'm not gonna tell anybody and tell somebody, or I would just tell her straight up and be like, hey, I have to tell somebody so you can get better and so you won't be in this position anymore.
To be honest, I was mad at her for about a week. It really didn't last that long. And in the end, I thanked her because she saved my life.
I think I was a friend. I think that's what I did.
It was so beneficial having that one person who, you know, she didn't understand what I was going through, but she never left my side. I really benefited from therapy. In movies, depression, they make it seem like, you know, your world is black and white all the time, and that's not true at all. Depression will always be something that I have, but it's definitely, the color has started to come back. And you know, I still live my life authentically having depression. I learned about coloring and painting and anything art-related, and that was actually one of the biggest coping skills that I used. My room has all these different posters that I've made, and I felt like working with my hands was really helpful for me.
She loves life now. She has come a long way, and yes, I am very proud of her. She's a joy in our lives.
I think she has already proven that she can live and others can live with mental health challenges.
Because without the help, my daughter wouldn't be here now. And I wouldn't be here to tell you the story about how wonderful daughter she is.
I had a really hard time seeing that there were people out there who loved me. And I think that that is a really big thing to remember, is that you are loved.
A lot of people worry that if they go tell an adult on their friend, that their friend's going to be really mad at them. And the thing is, sometimes friends are a little upset at first, but usually in the long run, people feel super grateful that someone cared enough to get them help.
This isn't good.
What? What isn't good?
I'm worried about Carmen. Something's up.
What do you mean?
This guy in her drama club was asking me what's up with her skipping rehearsals. He said that when she does show up, it's like she's in her own world, zoned out.
Well, that's how creative types are.
Yeah, but she's got the lead role in this year's big production. How do you just not show up to rehearsals? Plus, she's not really hanging out with us anymore. Something's wrong.
Yes, because there has to be something seriously wrong with anyone who doesn't want to hang out with us.
Then this. She stopped posting anything like a month ago, and I've been texting her since last week, and she just responded this morning.
So?
It said something like, it's okay, you won't have to worry about me much longer. I've been thinking about that TV show we watched, about the kid who killed himself, and how there are almost always warning signs, but you don't realize it until it's too late.
Okay, if she had actually said something about, killing herself, then I'd be just as worried as you. But at this point, you're kind of just jumping to conclusions.
You think?
Yeah, maybe she just doesn't want you to worry. She's probably talking to other people, or she's just tired of high school plays. You should think twice before reporting her to the counselor.
You think I'm overreacting?
Yes, you are.
I don't know, maybe you're right. I'll check in with her later and see how she's doing. And I'll leave Mr. Matthews out of it for now. Yeah, maybe I was jumping to conclusions. Maybe I should have minded my own business. But you know what? that was a risk I wasn't going to take.
I'm gonna do it. I'll tell him about drama club and what I told you, and we'll let him decide what to do.
Carmen's not gonna like this. I mean, I know I wouldn't.
Like it or not, I'd do the same for you. I waited outside the office so I could catch Carmen and explain why Mr. Matthews wanted to talk with her. James was right. She didn't appreciate it. She accused me of betraying our friendship and invading her privacy. She didn't hold back. I stayed calm and I told her that I was worried about her and that I cared about her a lot. I told Carmen I'd be waiting for her outside, that we could talk later if she wanted. Or not. It was up to her.
Hey, Carmen, come on in. You know, I saw you in the musical last year. I had no idea you could sing like that.
Thanks, but I know that's not why I'm here.
You're right. I guess you know a couple of your friends are worried about you.
Angelina told me.
Why do you think she's concerned?
I don't know. She said something about how I was skipping rehearsals and not answering her texts, not hanging out with her as much, things like that.
Well, things like that are often signs that you're struggling with something you might need help with. All kinds of students need help for all sorts of reasons. That's why I'm here. Carmen, Angelina also mentioned a text that really had her concerned.
Yeah, I know.
When you're ready, I want to talk more about that. I'm here to help. You're not alone. So, can we talk?
Luke? Whoa, are you drinking? Did you steal that from Dad's liquor cabinet?
He's your dad, not mine.
Okay, well, our mom and my dad are gonna be home on Monday, and you trashing the house is just gonna give them one more thing to fight about.
Think how happy they'd be if I wasn't here. Just the two of them and perfect little Sydney.
I wish you wouldn't keep saying that.
It's true. Mom wishes I was someone else. She wants the football games and the prom pictures with a girlfriend.
Okay, so Mom's old-fashioned. Look, I know not being accepted for who you are really hurts.
How would you know? Mom has that shelf full of all of your soccer trophies. She tells everyone about all your straight A's.
Why are you attacking me? It's like you're angry all the time.
Yeah.
No wonder you're getting in trouble at school.
I know. I'm the problem in this family. There's no me, no problem, right?
Okay, you're scaring me. You need to talk to someone.
About what? Getting drunk? Yeah, I'm sure that'll go over well.
Yes, and about school, and about how you're sleeping all the time. This is the first time I've seen you awake this weekend, and look at you. I'm not trying to be mean, Luke. I'm worried about you.
You don't get it. Who would I talk to? No one gets it.
Well, what about Uncle Jeff? He wasn't perfect in high school. You heard the story about how he crashed the family car? I'm sure he'd understand.
And the first thing you do is tell Mom.
We could text that crisis line that we learned about in school.
Well, what crisis? Look, I'm drunk. Don't worry about what I said. I'll take care of the mess. Please, just leave me alone.
Promise me you won't drink like this again. And try to talk to somebody. If you promise to do those things and actually do them, we'll see where this goes.
Just please leave me alone.
No, I'm not gonna leave you alone. You're my big brother, and I'm scared to see you like this.
I feel like I'm falling apart, Sydney.
That's what a crisis is, right? Look, I'm gonna text the crisis line, and I'd feel better about it if you said you were okay with it.
What happens next?
I don't know, we'll figure it out. Your turn.
Some of the common myths that exist about suicide are that if you have a conversation with someone about suicide, that you might introduce the idea where it had not been on their mind. And we know that that is not true. Very often, talking about suicide is an indication that someone is seeking help.
So the majority of people who are thinking about suicide have something like depression, either depression or some other mental health condition going on. Depression is definitely something that is treatable, and people feel much better afterwards. So there are different ways that people can feel better. One of them is by taking medication. Sometimes it's also by going to counseling and talking to someone to talk through problems or to think about other ways to cope.
So some healthy coping strategies would be connecting with others. So making sure that you're not isolating yourself, but that you're spending time with your friends. Exercising as well. So if you're an athlete, just making sure that you're continuing to take part in those activities, as well as journaling. So if you're someone who likes to write, using that as a mode of self-expression.
In movies, depression, they make it seem like, your world is black and white all the time, and that's not true at all. Depression will always be something that I have, but it's definitely, the color has started to come back.
I am in a good place now, and I'm really happy that I can be myself and be who I want to be.
My name is Kiela Hoff, and I'm 19 years old. As a child, I was very happy. My family life, it was hard at times because my mom always worked. She was a single mom, but overall, she did what she could. Junior year of high school, my godfather, who was my best friend, had passed away. He was like everything to me. When he had passed, it was very hard, but it's not the main reason for my depression. There's a lot of reasons for my depression.
Kiela and I met on college orientation day, and I approached her first. And from that point on, like, we just started to grow like a close bond.
In college, I went into rugby. And what I liked about it was the togetherness. It was like a one team, one family. And I definitely made some of my lifelong best friends. My sophomore year of college, the feeling of being alone just really hit me. It got to the point where I didn't do my laundry for a couple months because I was so depressed I didn't want to get out of bed. I distanced myself away from my family and friends. I wasn't getting up for school. I wasn't going to classes. I just wanted to just sit in my room and sleep all day. I was failing. I failed.
Every time I would usually like invite her to places, she'd rather stay in the room instead of come outside. Another thing was her constantly like crying or like her anger, like her mood would change from like time to time.
I was drinking, I was using drugs and alcohol as an escape from my feelings. I found myself in a situation where I had almost lost a good friend because I told her like just disrespectful things about herself that I would never do.
I had a sense that she was struggling like in the beginning when we first started rooming because like she was like constantly sad and crying. And she would always like mention to me like how she's homesick.
When someone is feeling depressed, it can feel like a lot of different things. For some individuals, they describe depression as, a lack of motivation to do anything. For some people, it feels just like deep and profound sadness. But a common theme is really an emotional pain.
I've kind of faced depression like throughout my whole life. So there's like the grief, there's the guilt stage, there's the sleeping where you just sleep so much, but then you can't sleep at all. Sometimes you're really emotional on days and you can't stop crying. And other times you can't feel anything.
For me, when my depression hits, it often, when I'm around friends and stuff, on the outside, I look just fine. I'm lively and I'm outgoing, but it's when I get home and I'm alone with my thoughts and my feelings that I really like just become a completely different person, that sort of the stuff on the inside starts coming out.
It's important to recognize that mental health is similar to physical health in that it's something that we've got to be proactive in taking care of. Someone had the flu, someone had pneumonia, someone broke a limb, they would go see the doctor, they'd be treated. When someone is struggling with mental health disorders, it's really important to seek treatment.
I had a couple friends who really loved and supported me. One of my closest friends, she went to my high school counselor and was like, hey, my friend Connor, he's feeling really down about this and his whole life, and he needs help. And that really helped me out of my sort of, I felt like I was stuck in a hole and I couldn't dig out. But he sort of helped me figure my way out.
I asked someone who I knew was in therapy. I was realizing that, things weren't getting better, with my depression and my self-harm, and I had to do something about it. And I went and I asked her, how did you get into therapy? Because at that point I was in college, and the college offered counseling. And she really pushed me because I wasn't sure. She told me to get an emergency evaluation. I didn't want to go, and she dialed the phone of the counseling center on my phone and hit dial and handed me that phone, and essentially kind of forced me to take that phone call, and I went in, and that little gesture was what started my treatment. I honestly think if that wasn't for her, I wouldn't have gone sooner, and I feel like I owe her I feel like I owe almost everything.
It was years until I was able to finally reach out and get the help that I needed. And I found others like me, and I found great solace in seeing that I'm not the only one who goes through this. And that, if anything, the experiences I've gone through have made me stronger as a person today.
What it was me learning to just accept who I am and being okay with who that was. To get to a place where I could actually go to therapy and talk about the issues that were really deeply bothering me, and being with other people who understand what you're going through is so valuable, and it makes you feel really less alone.
I felt relieved. Like, I felt like, wow, finally, I'm not carrying this burden on my own. Finally, someone's able to listen to me. Finally, someone who knows what this is. There's a name for it, that other people deal with it.
When I was struggling in college with suicide, it took me a very long time to finally tell somebody.
She just opened up and told me that she was suicidal.
And I told her that I was going to kill myself.
I didn't think that her depression would get her to that point where she would feel suicidal. I appreciated her telling me that, because not a lot of people have like the gut to tell someone that they're close with or a loved one, like, wow, like, you were like in my face like almost every single day, and I didn't like, you know, see how you were feeling to that point where you just want to take your life away.
And she told me that I needed to get help.
I convinced her to go to counseling because it was the best option for her to do.
And what I did was I went to the counseling center at my school, and that was probably the best decision that I made. What I've learned to cope with depression is to definitely just communicate your feelings to people who you feel comfortable with. Go to a support group, go to your family members, anybody, just, you know, get those feelings out there.
Kayla's a very strong woman. She excelled from the time I met her to now, and I'm glad that she's getting the help that she needs.
I'm proud of myself. Because I made it. You know, you always hear stories about people not making it, and I'm happy I did.
If I could go back and tell myself one thing, I would tell myself to be kinder to myself, be kinder to me, and to treat myself the way I treat my best friend, with all the love and care, and to remember that it's okay to take care of yourself.
I would tell myself that you should have got help earlier.
I would tell myself that it's okay to feel what I'm feeling, and that it's okay to tell someone else what I'm feeling, and it's okay to open up both to myself and to others.
I would tell myself that the bravest thing you could ever do is get help.
The Safe Utah app is a very useful tool that can help you report any concerns you may have. Once you downloaded the free app, there are several ways to use it. In the top left corner, you can start a chat to text a professional regarding concerns you have about yourself or about a friend. Someone will text you back personally right away through the app and offer help and support. In the top right corner, you can submit a tip to report a variety of issues, to share something that you are concerned about or feel should be checked out by school administrators or counselors. Tips are always anonymous and are personally followed up on as soon as possible. If you feel like you would like to talk to someone in person on the phone, you can click Start a Call in the bottom left corner. The number will come up automatically, and you can speak directly with a trained professional counselor from the University of Utah Hospital. They will give you the support you need and notify the emergency services in Wasatch County if necessary, or notify the family or school to follow up if other support is needed. You can also check on the status of a tip that you have reported in the bottom right corner. The best part is, Safe UT is always available, 24/7, on weekends, holidays, or in the middle of the night. This app has helped save lives. Please use it and take it seriously if and when you ever need to. It is there if you ever need help.